The days after the wedding were full of quiet tension, but also a chance for healing. Sarah, the bride, felt the weight of what she had said to Amina. Her heart was heavy with regret. She had publicly humiliated a woman who was soon to be part of her own family. At first, Sarah tried to avoid Amina and Omar, unsure of how to face them after her harsh words. But as time passed, she realized she needed to make things right. Sarah spent many nights thinking about the hurt she had caused. She remembered the proud, joyful bride she was on her wedding day, and how quickly things had changed with just a few careless words. She knew an apology was necessary, not just a quiet sorry, but something meaningful. Sarah wanted to show Amina and the family that she was truly sorry and that she wanted to rebuild trust. Meanwhile, Amina remained calm and strong. She had experienced humiliation and judgment, but she refused to let those moments define her. She held her head high and focused on the love she shared with Omar and the baby growing inside her. Amina believed that time and patience would heal wounds. She was open to forgiveness, but also careful not to forget the pain she had felt. Omar stood by Amina's side through everything. He knew the pressure on his wife and the challenges their secret marriage had brought. Omar was a gentle man, but determined to protect his family. He encouraged Sarah to speak honestly and reminded his wife that sometimes people made mistakes because of fear or misunderstanding. Omar wanted all of them to find peace and unity. One afternoon, Omar arranged for Sarah and Amina to meet alone in a quiet room. He hoped that with fewer people around, they could talk honestly without distractions. Sarah entered the room nervously, her hands trembling slightly. Amina greeted her with a soft smile, her eyes calm but cautious. The moment felt important and delicate. Sarah began to speak, her voice low but sincere. Amina, I am very sorry for what I said at the wedding. I was wrong to judge you without knowing your story. It was unfair and hurtful. Amina listened carefully, then replied, Thank you for saying that, Sarah. It was hard for me. But I believe people can change. I want to move forward too. They talked more about their feelings in the future. Sarah shared that she had been afraid of change and of what others would say. She admitted she had been proud in the wrong way and that her words came from fear, not kindness. Amina explained that she understood. Fear, but hoped for acceptance and love instead. This conversation was the first step toward healing. Both women realized that their anger and pain came from different places, but their hope for peace was the same. They agreed to work together to support Omar and the family. This was not an easy promise, but it was honest and hopeful. Back in the family, Khalid and his wife noticed the changes. They saw Sarah's efforts to make peace and Amina's strength and forgiveness. The older relatives began to open their hearts, understanding that family bonds were more important than old judgments. Small acts of kindness began to show, inviting Amina to family meals, asking about the baby's health and offering support. The community outside the family noticed too. Neighbors who had been quick to judge began to change their minds. They saw how the family stood united despite the challenges. Amina became a symbol of courage and kindness. Her story showed that even when life feels unfair, grace and patience can bring healing. Omar and Amina's marriage grew stronger. They shared quiet moments together, dreaming of their future and the baby they would soon welcome. They faced challenges, but faced them as a team. Omar was proud of his wife and grateful for the forgiveness and acceptance they had received. Sarah, too, grew in her understanding. The experience taught her humility and compassion. She began to see people not as judgments or rumors, but as individuals with their own stories and struggles. Sarah worked hard to show respect and care to Amina and Omar, building a new, stronger family relationship. One day, Sarah invited Amina to help her prepare a meal for the family. Working side by side in the kitchen, they talked and laughed. It was a simple moment, but full of meaning. They were no longer strangers or enemies, but women connected by family and understanding. As the months passed, the family looked forward to the baby's arrival with joy. Amina's pregnancy was going well, and the whole family supported her. They prepared a special room for the baby and shared stories about life and love. The past pain began to feel distant, replaced by hope and new beginnings. This part of the story teaches a powerful lesson. Apologies and forgiveness are important steps toward healing. It shows that even difficult moments can become chances for growth. It reminds us that people make mistakes, but that kindness and understanding can help us move forward together. The journey was not easy, and there were times when feelings were hurt again. But with honesty and respect, the family found a new way to be together. Amina's courage and Sarah's humility created a space where love could grow. Would you like me to continue with part 4? The day after the wedding, the town was buzzing with talk. People couldn't stop whispering about what had happened during the ceremony. Everyone was curious about the young pregnant woman Amina, who had been publicly humiliated by the bride, Sarah. But the biggest surprise came when someone mentioned a secret: Amina was married to Omar, the groom's son. This news shocked many people. No one had known about their marriage before. It was like a hidden story suddenly coming out in the open. Omar had kept the marriage a secret from most of his family and friends. He had his reasons. Omar was a quiet man, and he wanted to protect Amina and their relationship. He feared that if the family had known about Amina's pregnancy and their marriage too early, it might have caused problems. The family was very traditional, and Omar worried that some members would not accept Amina easily, so he chose to wait for the right time to tell them. But now, after the wedding, there was no way to hide the truth. The secret was out, and the family was surprised. Khalid, the groom, and Omar's father, was the first to hear. When he found out, he was shocked, but quickly calmed himself. He cared about his son and wanted what was best for both Omar and Amina. Khalid decided to talk to his wife and other family members privately to explain the situation. Before rumors spread too far, meanwhile, Amina stayed quiet and tried to keep her head high. She felt the weight of the town's eyes on her. Some people looked at her with pity, some with judgment, and a few with respect for her strength. Amina understood that people often judged without knowing the full story. She wanted to share her truth, but she also wanted to avoid more conflict. Instead, she focused on staying strong for her unborn child and for Omar. Omar, too, was worried. He knew that keeping the marriage a secret had caused pain for Amina, especially during the wedding when she was humiliated. He wished he had told his family sooner, but he hoped that now, with the truth out, things would start to heal. Omar talked to Amina often, reassuring her and promising to stand by her no matter what happened. At home, the family gathered for a serious discussion. Khalid and his wife explained to the older relatives about Omar and Amina's marriage and the pregnancy. Some family members were surprised and a little upset that Omar had not shared this important news. Others worried about how the town would react. But Khalid asked everyone to be understanding and support his son and daughter-in-law Sarah. The bride heard about the secret too. She felt shocked and embarrassed. She never expected that the young woman she had insulted at her wedding was actually part of her own family. Sarah began to think about her words and actions. She realized that she had been quick to judge without knowing the whole truth. The realization made her feel ashamed and guilty. In the days that followed, Sarah's feelings grew more complicated. At first, she avoided Amina and Omar. She didn't know how to face them after what she had said. But slowly, Sarah started to think about the pain she had caused. She wondered if she could make things right. She was afraid that the family might be divided because of the secret and her harsh words. The guests who attended the wedding also talked about the events. Some were angry at Sarah for humiliating Amina in front of everyone. They felt that no one should be treated that way, especially at a happy event like a wedding. Others felt sympathy for Amina, admiring her quiet courage. A few guests believed that Omar and Amina's secret marriage was a brave choice in a town where traditions were strict. Amina's close friends stood by her side during this time. They encouraged her to be proud of her family and her marriage. They reminded her that she was not alone. Their support gave Amina strength to face the challenges ahead. She began to feel a small hope that maybe the family could come together and accept her. Omar also spoke with his friends and some of his cousins. He asked them to help change people's opinions and to support Amina. He wanted to show everyone that his wife was a good person and that their love was real. Omar hoped that with time, the community would see past rumors and judgment and accept their family as it was. Slowly, The story of Omar and Amina started to change in the town. People began to understand more about their situation. They saw that Amina was not a problem, but a part of the family who deserved respect. The gossip quieted down as kindness replaced harsh words. Many people learned an important lesson about not judging others too quickly. Inside the family, things were not perfect yet, but they were healing. Khalid supported his son and daughter-in-law publicly, telling friends and neighbors that Omar's marriage to Amina was real and strong. He reminded everyone that family means caring and accepting each other, even when things are difficult. Sarah struggled with her feelings. She wanted to apologize to Amina but didn't know how to begin. Her pride made it hard to say sorry at first, but deep inside, she felt the need to fix what she had broken. Sarah thought about how her words had hurt someone she barely knew and how those words had been wrong. One afternoon, Sarah found herself alone with Amina. The room was quiet. Sarah looked at Amina and saw not a stranger, but a woman who was brave and gentle. She finally spoke softly. "I didn't know. I'm sorry for what I said at the wedding." Amina looked surprised but nodded, her eyes showing that she was willing to listen. It was the first step toward healing. The town continued to watch this story unfold. Some people admired the way Amina handled everything with grace. Others respected Sarah's courage to admit her mistake. The family's journey was not easy, but it showed everyone that secrets can hurt, but truth and kindness can heal. As the weeks passed, Amina and Omar prepared for the arrival of their baby. The family began to come together more often, sharing meals and stories. The old tensions slowly faded. The community saw that love and respect could grow even after hard times. This part of the story teaches an important lesson. Keeping secrets can cause pain, but honesty and understanding can bring people closer. It also shows that mistakes happen, but it is never too late to make things better. Everyone deserves respect, and sometimes the people we judge the most need our kindness the most. On a bright and warm morning in a small town, the air was filled with excitement and joy. Today was a very special day, a wedding day. The whole town seemed alive with celebration. People were dressed in their best clothes, smiling and greeting each other with happy words. The wedding was set to take place in a beautiful hall decorated with colorful flowers and shiny lights. The chairs were neatly arranged, and the music was ready to start. Everyone was waiting for the bride and groom to arrive. The bride, named Sarah, was the center of attention. She wore a stunning white dress that sparkled in the sunlight. Her hair was carefully styled, and her face was glowing with happiness. Sarah had dreamed of this day for a long time. She wanted everything to be perfect, and she was proud to show her family and friends that she was marrying a wonderful man. The groom, named Khalid, was a kind man with a calm smile. He waited at the front of the hall, nervous but excited to see his bride. Among the guests was a young woman named Amina. She looked different from the others. She was wearing a simple dress and had a soft smile, but what everyone noticed first was her pregnant belly. Amina was expecting a baby very soon. She was happy about the child growing inside her, but she also felt nervous. Some people in the town talked about her quietly because of her pregnancy. They didn't know her story, and they judged her without asking questions. Amina had come to the wedding because she was invited. She wanted to support her husband Omar, who was the groom's son. Omar had asked her to come, but he had not told anyone about their marriage. He wanted to keep it a secret. For now, Amina understood his reasons, but it made her feel alone in the crowd. She quietly found a seat near the back, hoping to stay out of the way and avoid attention. As the ceremony began, the room was filled with soft music and gentle voices. People watched as Sarah walked down the aisle, holding a bouquet of fresh flowers. She smiled at Khalid, who looked at her with love. The guests clapped and cheered. It was a beautiful moment, full of hope and happiness, but not everyone was watching quietly. Sarah's eyes caught sight of Amina sitting near the back. Instead of a warm feeling, Sarah felt a sudden anger. She whispered to her friends, pointing at Amina's belly. Sarah said loud enough for others to hear, "Look at her. Who would marry a pregnant girl like that? How shameless." The words shocked many guests. Some looked away, uncomfortable. Others whispered among themselves, "Amina's face turned pale. She felt all eyes on her now. The room's joyful mood changed to an awkward silence. Some guests looked at her with surprise, others with judgment. Amina's heart beat faster. She wanted to stand up and explain, but she was afraid of making the situation worse. She felt small and hurt. Sarah continued to speak, her voice growing louder. A wedding is a time for respect, not for people like her to come and spoil the day. She didn't realize how many people were listening. The guests began to murmur, some agreeing with Sarah, others feeling sorry for Amina. Omar, the groom's son and Amina's husband, sat quietly nearby. He felt the tension in the room and wanted to protect his wife, but he was unsure if this was the right time to speak. He knew many people didn't know about their marriage. He had hoped to tell his family later, but now the secret was making things harder. Amina fought back tears. She stayed calm, holding her belly with both hands. She didn't want to cause a scene. She looked around, searching for someone to support her, but the cold stares made her feel alone. The wedding continued, but the joy was dimmed by the moment of humiliation. Some guests tried to change the subject or distract themselves with food and drinks. The music played, but it didn't bring back the happy feeling. After the ceremony, some close friends of Amina approached her. They told her that not everyone agreed with Sarah's words and that many felt sorry for her. Amina smiled, weakly grateful for their kindness. She wished the day had been different, but she knew she had to stay strong for her baby and her husband. Meanwhile, Sarah didn't notice the hurt she had caused. She was busy greeting guests and enjoying the attention. She thought she had protected the honor of her wedding. But deep inside, a small voice told her that something was wrong. As the sun set and the wedding party moved to the dinner hall, the story of Amina's presence and Sarah's harsh words began to spread among the guests. People whispered in corners and shared surprised looks. Some wondered why Omar had kept his marriage secret. Others felt sympathy for Amina's situation. That night, as the lights dimmed and the guests left one by one, Amina sat quietly with Omar. They held hands and talked softly about what had happened. Omar promised to tell the whole family the truth soon. Amina nodded, feeling both scared and hopeful. The wedding day, meant to be full of happiness and new beginnings, had become a day of tension and secrets. But little did they know, the story was only just beginning. The truth about Amina, Omar, and their marriage would soon come to light, changing everything for the family and the town. Through this moment, the story shows how quick judgments and harsh words can hurt people deeply, and how important it is to understand the full truth before speaking. It also shows the strength of a young woman facing shame and the quiet hope that things can get better. The day closed with mixed feelings. Some were happy, some confused, and some thoughtful. The wedding was more than a celebration. It was a moment that would teach lessons about kindness, respect, and the power of secrets kept too long. Would you like me to continue with part 2? The days and weeks that followed the apology were filled with slow but steady healing. Sarah and Amina began to build a fragile but real friendship. They still had moments of tension and discomfort, but both women tried hard to respect each other and find common ground. Each small step forward was important because their relationship was more than just between two women. It was about family, understanding, and future peace. Sarah made efforts to learn more about Amina. She asked questions about the pregnancy, the baby's health, and how Amina was feeling. She listened carefully and offered help when she could. These simple acts of kindness surprised many people. They saw that Sarah's heart was changing. She was no longer the proud bride who had judged too quickly. She was becoming a woman who understood the power of compassion. Amina, for her part, was patient and gentle. She understood that Sarah needed time to adjust. After all, the secret marriage and pregnancy had come as a shock to everyone, including Sarah. Amina wanted to build trust slowly, not rush the process. She hoped that by being open and kind, Sarah and the family would learn to accept her fully. Omar supported both women as much as he could. He encouraged Sarah to be patient with herself and with Amina. He reminded Amina that healing takes time, and that love was the strongest tool they had. Omar often said, "We are building a family, and that means working together, even when it's hard." Within the family, the older generation also began to soften. At first, some elders were cautious. They worried about how the town would talk and whether the family's reputation might be affected. But seeing the unity between Omar, Amina, and Sarah helped ease their fears. They realized that family was more important than gossip or appearances. Family dinners became a new tradition. Everyone sat together, shared food, and talked about life. Sometimes the conversation was light and happy, other times serious and thoughtful. But the important thing was that the family was together. They supported Amina's pregnancy and made plans for the baby's arrival. The community around them started to notice the change. People who had whispered behind backs now greeted Amina with smiles. Some came to offer gifts and kind words for the baby. The town began to understand that Amina was not an outsider, but part of the family they had all known. This shift in attitude gave Amina more confidence and hope. Sarah's own friends saw the change in her too. They admired her bravery in admitting her mistake and trying to make amends. Some of Sarah's close friends even helped her plan a small celebration for Amina and Omar, welcoming the new baby into the family. It was a sign that healing could lead to joy. There were still challenges, of course. Sometimes old feelings of hurt or embarrassment came up. Sarah would catch herself thinking about the moment she had humiliated. Amina sometimes felt the weight of judgment from outside the family. But both women talked openly about their feelings and worked to support each other. One important moment came when Sarah invited Amina to join her in a special family ceremony. It was a traditional event where blessings were given for new life and family unity. Amina felt nervous, but accepted the invitation. At the ceremony, Sarah publicly spoke about forgiveness and acceptance. She praised Amina's courage and welcomed her as part of the family. Many guests clapped and smiled, moved by Sarah's words. The baby's arrival was a moment of great joy. Amina gave birth to a healthy, beautiful child. The whole family gathered around, offering love and support. Omar held Amina's hand, proud and happy. Sarah was there too, smiling with tears in her eyes. The baby was a symbol of new beginnings and hope for the future. After the birth, the family's bond grew even stronger. They shared the responsibilities of caring for the child. Sarah helped Amina with daily tasks, and the older relatives offered wisdom and guidance. The family was no longer divided by secrets or misunderstandings. They were united by love. This part of the story shows the power of patience, kindness, and respect. It teaches that healing takes time, but that small actions can build bridges. It reminds us that families can grow stronger after hardship, when people choose to forgive and support one another. The journey of Sarah, Amina, Omar, and their family was a lesson for everyone. It proved that even when life brings surprises and difficulties, hope and love can lead to a brighter tomorrow. Together, they found a way to heal, accept, and celebrate life's changes. Would you like me to continue with part 5? The birth of Amina and Omar's baby brought a new light to the family and the whole community. The small child, a symbol of hope and new beginnings, changed many hearts. The baby's arrival was celebrated not only as a joyful event, but also as a moment of healing for everyone involved. It showed how even difficult situations could turn into opportunities for love and unity. The family came together in a way they never had before. Sarah, who once had judged Amina harshly, became one of the baby's strongest supporters. She spent time helping Amina with the baby's care, learning about motherhood, and sharing in the joy of new life. Their relationship grew from fragile to warm. Sarah often held the baby, smiling and feeling a deep connection to her new family. Omar was proud of both his wife and the changes in his family. He had worked hard to protect Amina and to bring the family together. Now, seeing them united made him feel hopeful about the future. Omar promised to be a loving husband and father and to support Amina always. Amina felt grateful for the support she received. The pain of being humiliated in public was still a memory, but it no longer defined her. Instead, she focused on the love around her and the bright future she hoped to build. Amina's strength inspired many people in the town. They saw her as a woman who faced hardship with courage and kindness. The story of Amina and Omar became a lesson in the community. It reminded people that quick judgments and harsh words can cause deep pain. It also showed that forgiveness and understanding could heal wounds and bring people closer. The town slowly changed its attitude, becoming more welcoming and less judgmental. Sarah's own life changed in many ways. She learned the importance of humility and compassion. She became an advocate for kindness in her community, sharing her story to help others avoid the mistakes she made. Sarah found new purpose in helping families like hers to grow stronger and more loving. The family, once divided by secrets and misunderstandings, was now a source of strength and unity. They faced challenges together, celebrated joys together, and supported one another through difficult times. The baby was a reminder that love could heal even the deepest wounds. Years later, when the child was old enough to understand, Omar and Amina told the story of how the family had come together. They spoke about forgiveness, patience, and the power of love. The child learned that mistakes happen, but what matters most is how we respond with kindness and courage. The story ends with a message of hope. It shows that even when life brings unexpected challenges, we have the power to choose compassion and to build a better future. Families can grow stronger through honesty and understanding. And sometimes the hardest moments lead to the most beautiful new beginnings. This story of Amina, Omar, Sarah, and their family reminds us all to be gentle with others, to seek the truth before judging, and to believe in the power of forgiveness. It is a story about the strength of the human heart and the hope that comes with every new day. Would you like me to help with anything else?